In your work folder, go ahead and open up a document with the name perspective.psd. This is a grain elevator somewhere in the wilds of Kansas, USA. And I took it on a road. I'm down here, the road slopes down, and it looks like the building is falling over. Now, we know it really isn't. Where we exist in the three-dimensional world, where we have all three dimensions, our minds make up the difference. In other words, we exist in that third dimension. Our minds look at that building and say, it's not leaning over, it's in the third dimension, and you're down, and our brains take care of it for us. But when you take the third dimension out of the equation, our minds no longer have that to compensate, and it does look like the building's kind of leaning over a little bit. Now, I could solve the problem. They actually have cameras that move the lenses as related to the plane of the film that can actually correct the problem. Or I can do it here, or I could do this. I could get up on a ladder when I took the photograph that would be literally about that high and shoot the picture with this being the center. I was way down here. What are we going to do? We're going to straighten this image out. Now we're going to go into our cropping tool right here, click and hold, and go down to Perspective Crop Tool. Draw on the image the area you want to change, which is typically the whole thing. Let's go ahead and go in and just drag the whole thing. Now what I need to do is I need to align the grid lines that we see in the Perspective tool to the lines on the building. It's usually not that hard to do. I'm going to get up to this corner, and I'm going to drag in until I think this line matches that. Now, I usually like to do this too. I move it over closer so I can really see, and I don't really think I've got it perfect yet. If you don't get it right, it's not going to look right. So you want to spend your time, make sure you got that. That's not too bad. I think I've got it that time. And I'm going to move it back. I want as much of the image as I can get. The next step, come over here and just double click. There you go. If I press undo, you can see the before and the after. And it does look a lot better. When you're taking photos from, let's say, unique angles, and they look fine when you take the photograph, but it kind of looks wonky when you're working with it in the two-dimensional world of Photoshop, it is possible, won't always work, but it usually does. It is possible to straighten that image out.